Hi, and welcome to our preseason cast assessment for season 10 of Big Brother Pokemon Battle of the Seasons. Now, me and Julia are joined by Olivia and Amir, our jury moderators for the season. So, welcome, guys.
Thank you. I
Thank
love
you.
it. A squared.
Yeah, so basically, we're just going to go through, give our impressions and personal opinions on what we think is going to happen this season with the cast. Since there's a shit ton of people, we won't waste any time. So alphabetically, we'll start with Adrian. So obviously he's nominated right now, week
Oh.
one, so not off to a good start.
King.
Like his background, he played in Hoenn and he was like very volatile. He was a week one nominee in Hoenn as well. And like he fought Zach and Jeff, like the final two, a lot.
I don't know why I love him
And
officially.
then got like 13th. So
Okay. Well, a lot of these like old school people, like I don't know that well. So I guess I'm gonna have like a little bit of a different perspective, but like it sounds like, he has like a pretty low placement to beat. So I'm interested to see if he's able to fight his way off the block week one. I mean, he looks really happy in his picture, and his glasses are kind of big, but like, maybe that means he can see better and see the.
Um, I definitely think that if he doesn't get off the block, he's the target and that he will go. So I think like the only way I see him staying this week is him like somehow like coming out of nowhere and being like super active, or like him winning veto.
Mm.
I don't think he has a chance at winning. I don't know if that's like too blunt, but I mean it's a 24-person cast and apparently he was like a last minute nominee, so you gotta like really have kind of a fucked up social game, but hope he does well.
okay. Alrighty. So that's Adrian. Next is Anthony, which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. He is the HOH this week.
Oh.
On his season, he went really far. He was really good at comps. Amir, you literally played with him, so you probably have a really good insight to the type of player that he is.
I like wrote little notes yesterday when I was like Liddy, like while I watched the videos, I like wrote little notes
Oh,
and
wow.
it said like his biggest strength is that he can play dumb really well. Like people think he's stupid really easily. He's good at comps and he's my favorite dork, but I think he makes strategic errors sometimes. But I think winning first HOH was a good move, personally.
Yeah, I agree with him being like he making strategic errors, because after hosting him and playing with him, I feel like he makes the same like common mistakes. And I think he might be playing a little too hard this time around, because like he was gonna nominate Jenna and then didn't, and then made a last minute nom, which is kind of like messy, especially for week one. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always the challenge of like being week one HOH. It's kind of like a blessing and a curse because like you have everybody sucking up to you, but like also like it puts you in the position where it's like if you let the power go to your head too much, it's gonna come back to bite you. And I think like with a lot of the returnees, they're gonna it's like that struggle of like if he makes like reoccurring strategic errors, like he needs to really break that cycle or else it's gonna like really hurt him in the long run. Because with 24 people, like that's so many. Like they're really gonna have to be careful and like realize that this whole game is like endurance.
Yeah, like my final thought on Anthony is just that he is like a very strong player. I don't think that he's necessarily always a good player, but he's always like he's not afraid to get blood on his hands and like win competitions even when it's not in his best interest. So hopefully this doesn't come back to bite him. But I think the biggest threat that he's going to have in this game is the fact that people are already painting him and Jared and Shoaib and Madison together.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to be the most threatening out of the four of them because he, number one, like had the best chance of winning his season and is the best in competitions, like historically, out of all of them. So I think that's going to be his biggest challenge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've seen that too. So I think it's always hard when it starts happening that early. And also, side note, last thing on him, I tried to watch his intro and it was like 5 minutes long and I like could not. So
Okay.
I think, be mindful of like that's your first impression for people and try to like make it entertaining. And he didn't really do that for me. Ah.
You're so popular.
Yeah, popular. If I had to predict, not to like drag this on, but I think he's going to make it. I mean, in a 24-person game, I think he's going to make it to the midway point at least.
I
think so too.
I don't see him being an early boot.
Yeah.
I literally wrote that in my notes, Nicholas. Like, will not be an early boot.
Yeah.
Same mind.
I would be really shocked. I'd be really, really shocked. Okay. So next up is Blake. Well, I guess, Olivia, you played with him, so you probably have a lot of insight.
Yeah, so obviously I love Blake, and I spent like the most time playing with him in Ore. I think he has a lot of obstacles ahead of him. He was really, really strong with like his social game in Ore, but he makes a lot of like, I don't want to say like a lot of silly mistakes because he's like kind of impressionable and like kind of sensitive sometimes. And I think it's going to be really hard playing with so many like strong players for him to like keep a clear mind and kind of like play on his own. So I'm really interested because I love him to death, but he is a little he kind of had like a big mouth in Ore and that always came back to bite him. So I just hope that he can kind of get it together this game. But I want to say that he'll make it far, but I don't know that he will make it past like maybe the midway point unless he like really cleans up his game.
Yeah, I think the problem with him is like he's really social and like he is pretty likable, but he's not the smartest. And that's going to be his downfall because like I think he has everything else. Like he's likable, he can win comps, but he's just not the smartest and never know. Like he's very impressionable. Like someone could tell him what to do and he would do it. So I think like he's gonna make it halfway, maybe like late pre-jury, but I definitely don't see him winning just because like he's gonna make very silly mistakes.
My only note when watching his video said he's kind of cute but has an inbred stare.
He is from the South.
I think he strengths is that there's a lot of dumb white gays that he can miss because he's attractive. So he needs to use that. But I think the issue is that him and Lynn are a duo, and I think she's more likable, or like it will be perceived more likable than him. So I think he's gonna leave before her. So I think he would be like an early-ish boot. I just don't see him making it that far.
Yeah. Well, and I was gonna add too after what Julia said, like he's the kind of person where you just hope that he falls in with the right people because he will blindly trust people. And like I think that'll be a big part of like how far he goes too, is depending on like who he falls in with his trust and like if they're actually gonna like have his best interests, that'll kind of determine like how far he'll get as well.
Yeah. I think honestly on like the pros side of him is that he is good at competitions most of the time when he needs to be. I don't see him being one of the first like couple of boots, but I think he could definitely wind up in pre-jury.
Yeah.
It just depends. I think like you guys said, who he ends up with, because he's very trusting and he's very like once he picks people that he likes, he'll work with those people and he'll be against whoever isn't with him. And I think that that's kind of what he's going to fall into again. Okay. Next is Bridget. I don't even know where to begin with her. This is her third time playing. Both times that she played, she was super like wild and like she'd fight people and she didn't care. And somehow she ended up in Redemption, like surviving evictions, even though she was like a house target. But now she's a year older, and I think she's a little bit more like toned down. Like tonight, Lockie was like trying to egg her on in the house chat, and like Bridget a year ago would have like snapped, and she didn't do that. So I think she's one of the people who I think is going to be underestimated on this season. I don't think she's going to make it to like the end of the game, but I think she has a good chance at making jury for sure.
Yeah.
I've played with her before. I think she has strong crackhead energy, like definitely. Maybe less crackhead than before, but she cares about playing strategically. It's just she gets so caught up when someone comes after her and she gets angry and then plays emotionally. So I think she has potential, but I can't see her winning because she makes a lot of people angry. But I have hope for her. She's one of the people I have hope for.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see her like shock everyone and like become like level-headed enough to like go far because I don't think anyone would expect it from her. And I've never played with her, but I've obviously like interacted with her. So I definitely know that she can kind of get caught up in things. And I think that's the hardest thing is when you have that reputation, people like Lockie and other people like John and stuff, they're gonna try to feed into that and set her off and like use that to their advantage. And so she can't give into that. And she like really needs to, you know, kind of hold back for the sake of her game. And then I could see her going far.
Yeah. And I also think that her being close with like Connor and Matthias, it could get her targeted, but it could also be beneficial because I know right now like Connor's in with a lot of people and like that could protect her for the time being. So I think it's just like who she's gonna end up with, kind of like not like Blake, but like who she aligns with is gonna determine how far she's gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good luck. So the next person is Colin. On his season, he was like kind of a wild card. Like he went pre-jury, but like he won a decent amount of comps. I think an HOH and a veto for the time that he was in. I don't really know what to expect from him because he's won like a decent amount of games. Like he's a pretty decent player, like outside of this series. And I think he might have a real advantage not being associated with like any group really. And I think that if he spins that to his advantage and is social and he's like been on the house calls and stuff, I think he can kind of slip by and be one of those people who like makes it very far and you're like, whoa, how did they get here? Like, shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about him. But I mean, he seems like he has like fun energy from what I've seen in his video and things. So hopefully he's able to spin that to his advantage because like with 24 people, like that is such a challenge socially and like you don't want people to forget you or your name like when they're like searching for people to like put up. So it's like if he can kind of use, you know, his sociability to an advantage, I think that'll be really good for him.
I don't know him, so you guys probably know like a lot more than I do. But I think me not knowing him and Olivia and like everyone not knowing him is his biggest strength because there's so many threats in there. Like he literally just needs to play a social game and mind his own business for the first half.
No, totally.
Oh, yeah. And I think like people are just gonna view him if he's like really social with everyone. I don't think people are gonna expect it, and people are gonna view him as like their extra vote or like someone on the side that they're close with.
Yeah.
And I think that could really help him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see him going really far. Like I really do. Like I think he's gonna make it very far.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. So next is Connor, our dethroned HOH for week 1. Just to like recap what happened game-wise with him. He nominated Lockie and Nathan as a target. And in his speech, he said that people were saying that Nathan was talking shit about him, which, like, may or may not be true. He kind of, like, scapegoated that as a reason to nominate him. And then Nathan was like, what? And then, obviously, Lockie and Nathan won the Battle of the Block.
Yeah.
And
Did
Connor
Lockie
is
throw
now
that?
not safe. I think Connor's playing really, really hard, really, really fast. But that's kind of how he always is. So I think he's gonna make it like decently far. I don't think he's gonna win this one, but like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think a lot of people are gonna be afraid of him,
Mhm.
and they're gonna be scared to like ever go after him.
Mhm.
And now that he's like close with Blake and Lynn, I think that he's gonna like I think he's gonna be in control, like have a good control of the game, and like sooner or later people are gonna realize that, and then he's gonna get taken out. But I think that like it's gonna be very obvious that he's like controlling it. You know what I mean? And I think that's where he's gonna like fall.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I think that's always like disappointing because like I think he could do so well if he maybe had like held back a little. I think like maybe being HOH week 1 was a little like going to his head because putting up Lockie and Nathan, like those are two like pretty like volatile people. Like you better hope they're going home because like they're not going to forget that you did that. And so I think that was kind of a mistake. And I think he's one of those people where I'm like, I feel like he is a strong player, but playing hard early, like people will kind of like pick up on that, kind of like what Julia was saying. So it's like, I'd like to think that he would go far, but I worry that he will go like maybe like late pre-jury or early jury just because like people are looking for targets. And like if he already has the reputation and like I've kind of already seen that people are like picking up on him having been like head of the villain people and things like that. Like if he's already has like attention on him, playing hard isn't going to make that go away.
I think he's one of like what you said is completely true, like especially about nomming to like strong people right away. And it's like I think he's one of the strongest people in the game, if not the strongest. And I think he's really good when he's at the bottom. So I'm not going to count him out. I think he has a chance to win. But I think the issue here is this is a 24-person cast. Like there are people who start playing the game at final 9 and win. So when you're making yourself a target at fucking like 24, like you're going to have a hard ass like road. But the thing is, he's strong and he knows how to get out of situations, but he's going to have a really hard time. And I also think that the people who aren't like in his group, like the not like Matthias, not Bridget, not Lynn, not them, like people are going to catch on to him eventually and they're going to start trying to get him out. So I don't know, could go either way for him, but I'm rooting for him. Like I think he could do really well.
Isn't he in like a huge alliance week 1?
Yeah, there's like a majority. Well, I mean, with 24 people, it's not really majority, but like it's like a 7-person alliance of like a whole mishmash of people, and he's kind of at the helm of it, which is risky. But I mean, like they're on call right now, like they're bonding a lot, so we'll see how that goes. I think I don't know. It's a lot at Final 24 to be playing like that hard of a game. But I mean, you made a good point. Like he does know how to play from the bottom, and get himself out of tight situations. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the best for him, and it's all about like the people that are in that and the connection that they have. So like I'm hoping he's able to kind of like pull back a little because I'd love to see him go far.
Yeah.
Me too.
Especially after he was robbed in Johto. Okay. So now we're gonna move on to someone who. What?
I said ooh, and Amir said something underneath me. I don't know.
I said Rayo was robbed in Johto.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, that's a literal T.
Throwing cloud out for everyone tonight.
Yeah, Raya gets a lot of it. So Next up is someone who Olivia played with, Miss Dana.
Okay, so here's the thing. As bitter as I was, I'm not gonna pretend like Dana was not a really great player. I think that like all around and like all the games that she plays, she has such great social game. It's kind of scary. Like I don't know how she forces herself to like make connections with all the people that she does, but she has such a strong social game and she kills at comps. So it just kind of depends. She's one of those where it's like it depends where her loyalties are gonna lie. Because in Unova, like she killed it the whole game, but then she like married herself to a final three where she knew she was going to get cut. And that was so hard for me to watch because I was like, girl, like you could win this whole game. But she like threw it away for that loyalty, which I like. I respect a loyal player, but I just really would love to see her not make the same mistakes this time. And I think, you know, kind of like Blake and Lynn, her and Quillen are going to have a really hard time, like avoiding that like automatic grouping. And like, I think she's going to be a target because she did so well in Unova. But I mean, I am hoping, I hope she goes far, but I just don't know. I don't see how she can get past that, like, that huge target that she probably has on her. But if anyone could do it, I mean, it would be Dana.
Yeah, and I think also like putting Kate in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
I think those three are definitely going to be targeted for being together. But I think so far, like Dana's like doing pretty well. Like I think everyone seems to like her, and I don't think that she's going to be like third or fourth boot. But I could definitely see her, you know, being targeted later on, like or like late pre-jury,
Yeah.
because of her with Quill and Kate.
Well, and isn't
So.
she, isn't, I feel like I've been hearing that her and Quill are both talking to Lynn, and aren't they talking to Blake?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Quill, Dana, Blake, and Lynn, they're in the 7-person alliance together.
Because I would love to see them kind of like dodge bullets together.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how that would go.
I think she can win. Like from what I can tell, and obviously again, you three know better, so like correct me, but she's really good at comps. Like she's a strong at comps and she's super social. Everyone likes her in the community from what I know. Like when she speaks in a chat, everyone's like ready to eat her out. So
Yeah.
like she can win, but I think she's been given a second chance because, like Olivia said, she lost because she was loyal to a fault, and now she has a second chance. She's in the game with Quill and Kate. So, what she has to do, from what I can see, is use her social game and make sure that when that group is targeted, that she can make Kate a target over her or make Quill a target over her. Like, she needs to look out for herself over her allies, and she can win. Like, I think she can.
Yeah. I would say she's in like I mean, I don't know everyone, but I would say that like she's in like the top three, like one of the best
Yeah.
players in the whole game.
Yeah, what I would say is honestly, she's playing one of the best social games out the gate that I'm seeing so far. I think, like Amir said, I think she has potential to go very, very far into the game, if not make it all the way to like Final Four 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I think if she is ever put up with Quill or Kate or something, she's gonna stay. Like
Oh,
people like her
100%.
way more than them.
Yeah.
And I also think that like her being in Unova and getting third because she was being like because being blindly loyal, like she's not gonna make the same mistakes.
Yeah.
And so I definitely could see her like if they're getting targeted, she's gonna jump ship and she's gonna like try to, you know, make sure that she gets farther.
Yeah.
And like to add on to that, like in Unova, she played one of the best games that like
100%.
we've ever seen. Like
Yeah.
she was amazing. And I think so far she's on the same like trajectory. I mean, every game's different, but
yeah, I 100% agree. And I like I said, it's just crazy to me because I feel like if people know her and they know of Unova, they know that she should be a huge threat, but I don't think that can stop her. Like, she has such a good social game. It like blows my mind. So I really feel like she has a good shot at making it like to the
And I
end.
think she's like, she, especially like in the past few months, like outside of like this series, like in the games that she's been in, she's just been kind of like fun and flirty, like kind of there, kind of not. And so like a lot of the people who have probably like seen her in other games, played with her, don't really see her as the like competition beast, like try hard that she can be.
Yeah, which I think was smart on her part, because when she does play hard, like, she is really good. So I have high hopes for her.
I think she's definitely one of the people I would expect to see go far.
Okay, enough kissing Dana's ass. No one tell her I said anything nice.
Yeah, Dana, if you're watching this, ew.
Choke Dana.
Okay, so now we're on to Duncan. One of our nominees for this week. It's weird because this is completely different than his season, where he was runner-up and player of the season, and now he's potentially a nominee at the end of this week, facing eviction. I think, like Julia said earlier, if noms stay the same, I think he's definitely going to stay. And I think even if veto lands in someone's hands, he might even get vetoed. I don't know what to expect from him. I really don't. I think his season was so different than this, and there was such a different combination of people that I think if he pulls the same like social game, I think he's someone who's gonna fall into the same track of like getting nominated a lot, but not being like the bigger threat, and kind of like not coasting, but like surviving deep into the game. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely see him either like being an early boot or being nominated like every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it being like kind of like a Gary BB Can season 5 situation, where like he goes from doing super well to like not getting very far, because like people kind of have seen the way that he's played, and like it's been so long that like I don't know how well he's gonna do with like this kind of structure, because his game was so different, but I really don't know him that well. So I would like to see him surprise everyone in his last org ever.
From what I know, he should have won a season, so I think he has something to prove, which could mean that he could play really hard. But I'm just shocked that he was like nominated so early, because from what I understood, like Anthony wasn't going to nominate him, right?
Yeah.
He was going to nominate someone else. So
it's supposed to be Jenna.
So it's like, what are you doing? Like, if you were going to win a season and you were player of the season, how are you going to let yourself be a last minute switch? Like, get your shit together. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think he definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how he rebounds. I know that he's like away right now, so that probably like factors into it, but it's going to be interesting to see how he comes back from this. Yeah. So next is Jacob Gibson, which is like, he's really interesting because he's made it like decently far both times.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Last time he made it to finale and got 3rd place.
Wow.
I think honestly, both times that he played a very similar game. Just he was a little bit luckier, I think, his second time around to make it that far. I think he's going to play really strong like he always does. He's going to be really social, kind of snaky, a little bit tricky-wicky, and then get caught, and then it's just a matter of when that is. But he's off to a good start, I think.
Yeah, he's off to a really good start. I think a lot of people like him, but I also think a lot of people think he's annoying. Maybe that could definitely be the downfall, because there's personalities like John and like people who are very like opinionated and like Lockie too, and like if they don't like someone, they're not gonna like you.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of like who doesn't like him if they ever get in power.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've never played with Jacob Gibson, but I love him, but he that's irrelevant. He from what I've heard, there's already people going into the game that he had issues with. Like a lot of like unresolved, like I think there's only a couple, but like unresolved like blocked contacts, like so I think those are kind of obstacles as well. And I definitely think him being um, so outgoing isn't going to be well received by everyone, kind of like what Julia was saying. And with 24 people, you just can't afford to be like pissing anyone off for like non-game related things, like them thinking you're annoying, because like that's an easy reason to put someone up. But I mean, I think it's interesting that he is playing with Blake and Lynn, because that's a really interesting trio. And I don't know, yeah, I don't know how long that will last or how far that will get them either.
I think he's gonna make it really far. I've played with him before, and he's my friend. But from everything I know about him as a player, it's hard for him to win games because he pisses people off, like
Mhm.
at the end, and he pisses people off when he's a finalist because he sometimes comes across like condescending. But
Mhm.
he is a force. Like he, as a comp monster, he's not afraid to call people out. He usually has a strong social game, and he'll slit anyone's throat. So like I
Wow.
wouldn't want to be his enemy in the game. I feel like if you become his enemy early on, you'll have a hard time. But I also think he's going to have to change something about how he plays if he wants to win this game, especially with 24 people, because he always gets exposed really early. You guys have hosted him. I've played with him, so you would know for sure. Like, he gets caught really easily. So he's going to have to not do that as early, especially with such a big cast.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wish I knew more about his game, but I
Yeah.
think, you know, being sociable with this many people, I think it's going to give everyone with like a social game strength like more of an advantage than the people that are used to just like laying low and ghosting for a long time. I think that will only get them so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, okay. So next is Jared. My prediction for him, honestly, on his first season, I thought his pre-jury game was like on fire. Like he was doing so well. And so far, like his social game has been amazing. Like everyone of like the old school and people who didn't know him are like, "Oh, I love Jared. Like he's so weird and fun." And I think that that's like the best thing he can do for his game because people are going to be like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, the straight man who's like whatever, like a game bot." And it's like people see him as just like quirky and fun. Um I think that'll help him when people eventually start targeting like the Kalos group and like the straight men to
Mhm.
keep him safe and send others out the door.
Yeah,
I have high hopes for him.
I think he's in the best position out of the straight men, and I think he will go the farthest out of all of them.
Mhm.
And I definitely have high hopes for him, like you said. And I don't know, I see him making it pretty far.
He's very strategic. He's very strategic, and he usually has a good social game because there's no one quite like him in the community, so it's easy
Mhm.
to get drawn to him because he's a freak. Like he is a freak. Um,
Yeah.
I love him obviously, but he's better than he's given credit for. I just think as long as he doesn't try and be iconic and all that too early, he'll be okay. Um, like I have really high hopes for him. And he wants to win. That's something about him I know from like watching him play like his two Tumblr Survivor seasons. Like he really wants it, and I know he really wanted to win Kalos. He like cried when he was evicted. So I think he's gonna like give it everything. I think he's gonna make jury for sure. At least mid
I
jury.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Olivia?
Um, I don't I don't know anything about his games and I don't know anything about how he's playing so far. So I don't have any comments, but it sounds like he has a lot of good things going for him.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, just
Do
to
you think
like.
he's cute, Olivia?
I wish that his picture was a little more flattering. Because he kind of has like a Phantom of the Opera, like half darkness going on. So
Right. But that's like my filter. Like you can't blame him.
no, I'm not blaming him at all. I'm definitely blaming Nicholas.
That's
So.
fine. I'll take the blame.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think he's gonna do well. I think he's gonna get the chance to like play the game this time and not like have some distractions.
Ah, I knew
Ah.
about that part.
So now we're on to Jenna. I honestly don't know how long she's gonna be here, but she is a crackhead. I love her. She found out like 20 minutes before she was getting nominated that she was going up, and she was like, "Oh hell no!" And she like spammed the fuck out of Anthony, and then got herself off the block like 5 minutes before noms, and that's pretty iconic.
That's so iconic.
I stan her.
Honestly, as someone like I don't know her that well, but as someone who like literally goes home every time I'm nominated, I have so much respect for anybody who is able to fight their way off because like it is not easy and I hope she brings that same like iconic energy to this game because it needs it.
Her mom is a strong player.
I definitely think that she's gonna go early, but she's fun to like have around.
Yeah.
There might be like some people that are gonna like. I feel like, and this might be a bad comparison, but I feel like she's kind of like a glow, where like she's kind of like a troll and like no one really takes her seriously. But there's gonna be like a few people that like are gonna try to protect her, but she's gonna just end up going early anyway.
Yeah, I
She
think
needs to use her intimidation as a strategy because she is an intimidating girl sometimes.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't like I would be absolutely flabbergasted if she made jury, but I think that she's not going to be someone who like they just like throw up and like vote her out. Like she's going to go out kicking and screaming, clawing against the walls, like
Love that.
cursing everyone out. Like she is
Good.
not going to go down easy, and I respect that.
Wow, I can't wait to see it if she goes.
But I have to say, in Hoenn, she had one of the best social games. Like she was amazing in Hoenn, and she came really close to winning. If the tie had fallen onto Zach and not her, I think she would have made it to the end and probably been in Zach's position. So we'll see.
I'm excited for her. Genuinely.
Okay. So the next person is John. Speaking of chaotic, yeah, I think honestly, John's up to his old shady tricks. Kind of like latched on to Kate and Lockie, but I don't think anyone like would ever expect that.
Yeah.
So I think that that'll really benefit him, and he's definitely like so funny to watch because he eggs Kate and Lockie on
He's
to
so
like
good at
fight
it.
people and like do crazy things, and I think that that's gonna be like such a big shield for him, and it's gonna be like the whole like him convincing Jellyman to walk thing all over again, where like there's all these dramatic fights
He
that
convinced a girl.
like,
He
stirring the
convinced
pot.
Jayla to walk.
Ah, yes. So John,
Yeah.
I was in Ori with him, and he is the best shit starter I have ever seen in my entire life. Like he is so like because most people when they try to start something, it's very obvious, and you're like, ah, they're a troublemaker. He is very stealthy about it, and like in Ori, he got someone to walk for something that wasn't even happening to her. Like it was crazy, and nobody knew it was him. And so like he egged me on to fight Nicholas, and he always does it in a way where it's like so subtle that like you don't realize that he's doing it to you. And I think that's like a really good quality, but it's also very dangerous because, you know, like when he decides to like snap, it can be really catastrophic for the people involved, kind of how he threw Jose under the bus. But yeah, I mean, he's one of those people where I think he could go far because he is a very low key player. So I feel like he's definitely one of those people where it's like if they don't get him out early, he's gonna coast and then he's gonna start playing like pretty hard towards the end. So I could definitely see him being like jury or like late jury. Because I'm in another game with him right now and he's doing the same crazy shit. And yeah, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
And yeah, I think he's gonna make it really far. And like he is already like trying to start so much drama, and like he's doing the exact same thing he did in Ore. And honestly, I don't think he's gonna get caught because the only people who know that he did that kind of stuff are Blake and Lynn, and I don't really think that they're smart enough to register that he's doing the same thing.
They're not.
Take a shot every time you call Blake dumb.
I will.
Yeah, God.
It's out of love though, and they know that. Like,
I think though, not to like make this about Blake, but like I think he plays up the fact that like perceived as dumb. Like I think he is a little bit knock in the head, but like I think that he definitely is like to kind of diminish his threat level for sure.
No, I don't think so. I disagree.
All right, agree to disagree.
But we'll see.
Anyways, back to John. Another thing I'd like to add is that he does come from BBTC. So I do think with live comps on his season, his issue was that he could never win a freaking comp. And that's because he was new to the community and like didn't really know the comps. But I think with like live, he's gonna do a lot better competition.
Yeah, he's gonna do really well. I played a BBTC with him not too long ago, and he was really good at live comps. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, he's gonna be really good at comps.
He is.
Comps is gonna change a lot, like in terms of the way everyone was before. To be honest, people who played a lot of minis, like Connor, are gonna dominate.
Yeah, I'm really excited because like that's crazy that you guys are doing that. So I think it's really gonna like change like people's strengths. And he's like real good at live comps.
Yeah. I think he's gonna land about I think he's gonna improve his placement a little, if not a lot. Okay.
I don't have any comments on him because I don't know him, but he did win biggest villain, so I'm automatically rooting for him. I root for anyone who gets villain.
So yeah, anyways, I'm not gonna make it about me. Let's move on.
So we're at the halfway point. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Wine
her drink.
Yeah, I know. Fill up your wine glasses, honeys.
I gotta go pop open another.
Next up is Miss Kate herself.
Yes, yeehaw.
Head energy.
I think, honestly, she was a hot, flaming mess her season, and it worked out for her pretty well. I think she's learned a lot from the game that she played. She made like this long DR, like reflecting on like what she's learned since her game, and like she said she's gonna try to be more quiet and like listen more, talk less. And I think if she does that, she has like a lot of like iconic like ability factor that's gonna get her pretty far into the game. I could definitely see her making jury.
Yeah, for sure. I think if she like tones down like her game and like if she tones everything down, she could make it really far. If she like, as long as she like doesn't pull an Alola and goes like crazy, I definitely think that she can like play really well.
Yeah, I feel like Kate definitely has like big dick energy. Like she's like really really crazy, but she could like really like manipulate people. And like I think the thing with Kate is like she gets really into things and I love that about her. So I think like as long as she like finds people that she likes that she's playing with and like kind of stays focused, like she could go really far. It's just a matter of like who's gonna piss her off and like how badly, because like once she like goes crazy, you can't really come back from that socially. So I think it's like, yeah, I think she could go really far though. And I feel like it could be like late jury, but they all need to like change their settings to like the fact that this is a 24-person cast. Like I worry about people like Kate because like that's such a long time for her to not pop off.
Mm-hmm. I think the good thing though is with a cast this big, she has, I think, the quality that you need the most, which is the same quality that I said Connor Caps has, which is
Mhm.
damage control. Like she gets caught and she gets exposed for shit and she knows how to play from the bottom. She's done it
Mhm.
like multiple times in Alola, like from when, because I remember Nicholas, you would update me a lot on like what was going on, and we'd literally be like, how the fuck is she still here? So I think that she's aware of her mistakes and she still has those qualities. Like I think she can make it really far.
Mhm.
But I can see her being early jury or late jury. It'll be one of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that her and Lockie might get targeted together. But Lockie, she's like put herself in a position where Lockie is so hated in this game that like if they are targeted together, if they're ever final noms, like she's gonna stay unanimously, and then she's not gonna be targeted with him anymore. So I feel like she's very well positioned, and even if she does snap, which like she snapped so many times in Alola and recovered, I think
Oh
it would
wow.
be shocking to me if she left before jury began. I really would.
Well, and adaptability is like really impressive. So as
Mhm.
long as she's able to like continue to do that and like adjust to like the personalities and like the climate in the game, I think she could really slay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely like one of like if I had to pick like 6 people who I think are going to do really well, she would be on that list for sure.
Yeah.
And she has Quill and Dana. She has a lot of people like who are all strong like players. Like none of them are weak. Lockie is strong competitively and like they're all useful to her, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I think is so interesting because it's like kind of like on a general scale, like there's so many times where like people will group up and it's like they all suck. So it's like, okay, like what are you gonna do? But like I think a lot of the stronger players are kind of grouping together and that can be really lethal. So like I just hope that they can use that to their advantage, especially like with Kate having connections with such strong players. Like I'd love to see her play that up.
Yeah. Okay. So next is Lucky.
Ah, I love that they're next
Wait,
to each
why does
other.
everyone hate him? You said everyone hated him earlier.
Um
Villain, right?
so basically like he has like half of the cast blocked like from past games, and then he blocked Matthias just because Matthias has more comp wins and like he wants to get Matthias out like for that reason.
I'm
And
screaming.
like he's like really bold. Like he'll go on the house chat like he hates Bridget, hates
Mhm.
Jacob. Um and like he asked Connor to nominate him just so that he could win Battle of the Block and get another comp win.
I'm
Um
freaking.
and like he's told like everyone that he doesn't want to be here. So and it's definitely like he's trying to like pull the like apathetic card, you know, where people are like, oh, you're not a threat because like you don't want to be here, like you'll just get booted or picked off or whatever. And I don't know if it's gonna work for him. I don't see it getting him to jury. Like I think he's definitely gonna be one of the first 5 to leave.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Well, and I'll be the first to say, like, he has a bad attitude this game. Like, I
mhm,
think that's gonna really hurt him. And I know he's saying that he doesn't care, but it's like when you get like 23rd, I think you're gonna care. Like, I don't understand why he's like throwing his game away to like act like he's like too good to be here when there's like
Mm-hmm.
all these
Yeah.
people who like wanted to play and like weren't
mhm,
picked. So I think it's kind of like interesting because like he could do pretty well, especially
Mhm.
like with the people that he's playing, but he's like
yeah.
has a bad attitude.
The
Yeah.
thing is too is that like he's really funny and like good at comps, and like when he was social in Alola, like he made a lot of new friends. Like I
Yeah.
mean, look at Kate, like they became best friends through that game, and like she forgave him for all the stuff that he did. And it's like if he on a returnee season like this, where like everyone obviously wants to be there because they agreed to play, the whole like apathetic card I think loses its value
Yeah.
rather when it's just like a newbie season that no one really like cares that much about.
Mhm. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like people are gonna get really mad at the fact that like he doesn't care about being there because a lot of people really, really want to play and like have been waiting to like play again. So I feel like they're gonna be like they're not gonna like that he's like doesn't want to be here, and that's definitely gonna get him targeted.
Yeah. Well, and it's like not to be like Tyra, but like honestly, like I was rooting for him and like I would have liked to see him like go far, but like I think his attitude needs to change real quick. Or I agree. I could see him being a target because that's not an attitude to have in this kind of cast.
Okay, like not to drag it on any further, but like if you're going to try and use the apathy card or like be like, okay, I don't want to be here, then you're gonna have to do it in a different way where you're more dead or you don't talk in the house chat or you do what you're told. But if you're gonna be like, I don't want to be here, and then you're gonna make people angry at you, it's like you're self-sabotaging your game. It's either you do one and piss everyone off and play as the target so everyone wants you here, or you don't do anything so no one thinks you want to be there. It's like I feel like he's just fucking everything up, to be honest.
Well, and like honestly, I feel like we're talking about him way too long, but like this is not, there's no newbies, there's no snowflakes. Like you're not going to be able to get away with the kind of shit that you would if you were in a different season. And I think that's the biggest obstacle for like the way that he thinks he's going to play. And a lot of the other people, like you need to be really woke because like I think playing with returnees is so much harder than newbies because they know your shit. They know what you're trying to do. And I think they're going to see right through Lockie. And like, I don't think he's going to last very long.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is that like Kate was even like telling people like, I don't want to work with him, like whatever, like I don't like his attitude. And you wonder if that's kind of like them just doing that to like fabricate some sort of feud. But like that alliance that we mentioned earlier, on call, they were like, yeah, I think Kate and Lockie are pretending to be mad at each other. Like they think we're dumb. So like people have it's day 2. Like people have already caught on to this. So it's definitely gonna blow up, I think.
Okay, yeah, because people were not casted because they're stupid. Like they need to get it together.
But anyways, so Lynn, I have to say, I used to shit on her all the time because she was very antisocial in Ore. She liked who she liked. She didn't like who she didn't like. Just like Blake was. Just like, honestly, Lockie was on his season. Like, it was that type of thing. But, like, this season, she's, like, so likable. Like, everyone likes her. She got invited into an alliance. People really, really like her. And, like, people that you wouldn't expect. Like, the straight men and, like, the old school, the new school. Like, she is playing such a strong social game. And I'm really proud of her. I think she has the potential to be, like, seen as not a threat at all. And I think she's going to make it very far. I don't think she's going to win because she doesn't have, like, the competition abilities, I think, to get herself to the end. But I think she's going to make it, like, very deep.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so surprised at, like, her ability to, like, be really likable and like be really social. And I don't think anyone's gonna expect that because of Ore, where she literally was so inactive and didn't talk to anyone. So I think she's gonna be in a really good position in the following weeks for sure.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who like played my whole game with her, like obviously I love her, but I'm really surprised and impressed with like the way that she's turned her game around because like you guys said, like in Ore, I couldn't beg her enough to talk to people and like she would always refuse. And then somehow when you add 24 people, she's like, yes, I'm going to be like a social queen. So like, I'm really proud of her. And like, I do think she has the potential to go really, really far. Like she could make it to the end. I don't know if she could win. But my only concern for her is like I know from playing with her that she can get a little hyped up and like it can go to her head a little bit. So like if it depends a little bit like Blake, it depends on who she's playing with. Because I think as long as she can stay level-headed, like she can go super far, like maybe all the way to the end. But I just worry if there's somebody on her shoulder, like hyping her up, she'll do crazy things. Like I really had to rein her in sometimes, and I just would love to see her like kind of keep that in check so that she can go super far. But it just kind of depends because she's also really loyal, so it depends on who she's with.
She
Hmm.
has an advantage coming in, and it's like she was. I think from what I remember watching Ori, I remember seeing her get backdoored and being like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen." So
Mm-hmm.
when you come in with literally no target, especially in our returnee season, it's such an advantage. Um, so she's coming in being seen as like almost a flop, and she clearly has the capability like to be a really strong social player. I think what she has to do is use her personality, use her sense of humor to get
Mm-hmm.
people like Jacob, like comp beasts, or people like Nicholas who are loyal. Sometimes they are comp beasts, and she can get them to be loyal to her. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what she has to do, and I think there's no way she's going to be pre-jury. Like, I don't think there's any
No,
way.
I completely agree. And I think like you guys said, like her personality and her like brand new social game is like her best quality because like when she is trying, like it's impossible to hate Lynn. Like she's really, really likable. So I think with 24 people, like she could be one of those people that could win them over. And like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she could end up having a social game similar to Dana's. And I just really hope that, she's able to play that up.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Yeah, she's
Whoa.
definitely like one of like the top 6 right now if I had to predict.
No, I agree.
Um, okay, so next is Madison. Um,
Yes.
I think honestly, Madison has the potential on her season. Obviously, Amir can definitely talk about this. She just like fell in a trap of like being really volatile and like people just didn't like her, and I think that was kind of like what set her down like a path where she's like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna get my someone who I really like to win because I know that I can't. So I think she's gonna be hungry to like actually, if she makes it to the end, have like a concrete resume of things that she did and like be able to say that she made moves and like played a winning game. And I think honestly she's kind of under the radar in a good way. Like she's pretty social. There's some people who don't like her, but there's like that's like far and few between. Um, I would say she's probably going to make it to like early jury. I would say she's one of those people.
She has those boys like Anthony and Shoaib and Jared, who are gonna cover her, and she's going to get along with like Jacob Gibson. I know she's gonna get along with a lot of people, and she's very underrated. Like, no one believes me when I say it, but like pre-jury of Kalos. She got info from so many people. She was the one who figured out Jared's game. Like, she helped me figure it out so early because she like would piece things together. So I think she has a lot of potential, but she also sometimes doesn't care. Like it's true. Sometimes she stops giving a shit. Um, but the thing is, she's not exceptional at anything. She's not an exceptional social player. She's not exceptional strategically or physically. But I think if she focuses, um, especially on like like being the fag hag she is, like if she gets the gays on her side, she could do a lot this season. And she needs to make the Kalos guys a target ahead of her because those are like 3 meat shields waiting to be like devoured.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like the Callis boys are gonna like I feel like they're gonna be like associated with each other, but I don't think that they're gonna like include her in with
Mm-hmm.
them.
Exactly.
So I think that if she plays that up, she could do really well. And like I know she's a really good player when she tries. So I think as long as she like tries to be social and like tries to like I don't know, do things, then I feel like she could make it pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she's another one that I really don't know a lot about. But I think having a strong social game and like playing it up is something that, is an advantage with this cast. So, I mean, I hope that she gets far.
Me too. I'm really rooting for her
Gosh,
because I
she's
feel like she has something to prove.
Yeah. I think she could surprise all of us. this
Yeah.
season.
I want a woman winner. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. So next is Matthias. Julia, you played
Yeah.
with him not once, but twice. I think honestly, he is such like like an enigma, honestly. Like he's such like a good player, but at the same time he comes across as so like out of it and like kind of
Yeah.
invert, but like the strategy side of him is really smart and really calculated, and he's really good at comps. I just don't know if he's going to have the social capabilities for a cast of 24. And his personality is kind of grating to some people, so I wouldn't be shocked if he gets targeted for that. Um, I don't know what to expect from him, to be honest. I don't know what's going to happen.
I think he could go pretty far. He's a very, very strong player, and I know from experience that like he's very likable and like he's very funny. So like if he just gets people on his side, then he could do really well. And like the thing is like he is like a front runner type player, but like no one's gonna see that when they have like Connor and Kate and Dana and like those type of people in the game. I think he could like easily like fly under the radar but be really social and be really likable, but also like having an impact on like what's going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's one of those people that could really surprise everyone. It just depends on like how bad he wants it and like how he adjusts to the cast because like he he is like pretty iconic. I only know about him because I watched his intro for like his second game and he just like seems like someone who can be like really fun and I'd like to see him kind of like surprise everyone and make it to like jury. But you know, it is kind of like a long ways away. So I'm interested to see what happens.
As a player, I don't know too much about him, so like I can't really say much, but personality wise, he's very funny. Um, so I think it'll be easy for him to make, and he's confident. He's funny and he's confident, so it's gonna be easy for him to talk to people and make friends. But I also don't know if I can see him winning ever, just because people who are with him love him and people who are against him don't like him. So I can't see him getting the jury votes to win.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But also like the fact that he like has been out of the community for like a year and knows like no one and no one really knows how he plays. I think that definitely could be an advantage and
mhm.
I feel like a lot of the new school people could definitely like him.
Yeah, definitely because he's a troll and the majority of them are trolls.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
Troll
excited.
well.
Yeah, like I want to see how he fits in with like Kate and like Lockie. I like can totally see him locking horns with them, and like we're getting along really well with them because they definitely have a lot in common.
You
So
know who I could see him working with is John. If
yeah,
they get along, he's
yeah,
very much kind of like, I mean, she's iconic, so I don't want to compare them, but like Zizo is iconic and she's like also kind of trolly, and John
mhm.
is very attracted to that energy. And so I think they would be a scary duo. I would love to see them play together.
Yeah. I think Matthias is playing it smart, like so far, just like playing kind of like slow out the gate, which I think is gonna benefit him in the long run. Um, but yeah. Um, Next on our list is Michael the Rat. Um, I love him. I don't know how I feel about him. I don't know how he's going to do. And on his season, he was kind of like, I don't know, like he was kind of like in a duo like Blake and Lynn, where they were kind of just like little like clueless, aimlessly stumbling to the end. It's kind of like if Blake and Lynn stumbled to like final five.
Mhm.
Um, but I think he like has a history of being like a pretty like good social player. And I think compared to the other people from the old school team who are kind of like falling behind a little bit in the social area, he
Mhm.
has the ability to kind of skate by for a few weeks. I think he's going to be pre-jury though, if I had to predict.
I could
Me
really see
too.
him being a pawn,
Yeah.
but
And
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Even though I played with him, I don't know like much about his game. To be honest, I feel like he's just gonna be social and like that with like a few people, and like that's gonna be it. And like, yeah, I don't see him making it very far.
yeah, I mean, who knows? He could get lucky by doing just that. It just depends on who he's talking to. And I apologize. I just realized that I could have been clicking on these people and reading their bios, and then I would have had more to say. So he's the first one whose bio I've read. Um, and it'll be interesting to see how he does without Emily and without having someone that he's going into the game with. But yeah, I mean, I think people like him and like Blake and Lynn in their first game, like sometimes just talking to a few people does work. So it just kind of depends on who he picks because like look at like Autumn and Allie from Ore, like they did really well just by getting lucky by like the people that they were talking to and playing their social game that way. So I think, it all depends on who he's talking to.
I've played with him once, and like Julia said, even though I've played with him and he made it pretty far, like I still don't know jack shit about his game because in the game I played with him, he had like one person who he talked to regularly, which was Sydney, and he got lucky that she won like 4 HOHs.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
like
weird.
I don't think he's a strong player. I think he's a
Yeah,
weaker Nicholas,
yeah, but he
without
could
an
be a
H.
goat. Sometimes goats make it far. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. His like first season that he played was really weird. Like he got rose golded out and then won a buyback like 10 minutes later. And then it was like he never left. Like it was really weird. But I think he's a wild card. We'll see. Um Next is Nathan.
Ah.
I don't know him.
You don't know Nathan?
What?
Is that what you
No.
just said, Amir?
Yeah, I don't know Nathan, but I feel like I should. I feel like everyone else knows him.
So Nathan, I played with him in Unova. And what can you say about Nathan? Where do you start? He is always like the star of his own show. And he is a lot. So I think he's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. He can be really loyal to like a few people. So like that's a good quality. And like I feel like he's one of those people too who he did like leave the community like after Unova, and I feel like he's kind of toned down a little. So maybe, he's gonna like sneak up and surprise everyone, but he is very volatile. Um, from like the experiences that I've had with him. So I feel like he's one of those people where it's like I'd like to see like what happens when he's like put in a corner, kind of like I think her name's Jenna, the one that we were talking about before. But yeah, he's definitely entertaining to watch, but it's a nightmare to play with him. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he could really surprise people and like make like early jury, but I feel like he's gonna rub a lot of bigger.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely gonna rub people the wrong way, but I also think that he's a like good enough social player that he's gonna find his people.
Yeah.
And like he's gonna have like a solid alliance sometime down the road that's gonna keep him safe. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I feel like he could go early jury or late pre-jury. But yeah, he's definitely gonna rub people the wrong way, and like he will probably be nominated more in the pre-jury phase.
He already seems like he doesn't have a good relationship with Connor, and not being on the right side of Connor early on is a scary place to be in a game. So, I mean, good luck to him. I hope he can do it. But
Yeah,
other
I
than
mean,
that, I don't know much about him.
Yeah, I mean, I think a good quality about him is that he is loyal, which is like not common with a lot of people that play the way that he does. So I think if he finds the right group, he could do well. It's just a matter of like outlasting the people that he's probably gonna end up pissing off because he's not afraid to fight.
Hmm. Were you aligned with
Yeah,
him,
I
Olivia, in the game
Uh,
they played?
uh, yeah, for a little bit. It was kind of like a side alliance, but yeah, I worked with him and he's just kind of, I don't know. I think he's a little too trusting sometimes. And he can be very emotional. So hopefully, he's grown out of that. But yeah.
yeah I yeah I don't know. I think honestly, Nathan is such a wild card.
Yes.
But like I think him getting nominated, him and Connor like smoothed over what happened after he got off the block. And I think that him winning the Battle of the Block and doing so well in that competition is gonna really deter people from putting him up before Battle of the Block. Now whether that means that he's just gonna get like backdoored at some point, I don't know. But I think now people aren't gonna be like, oh, I don't know who to put up. I'm just gonna put up Nathan because you know that he can carry a Battle of the Block comp.
Mhm.
So I think that was good for him.
But
Long
Hopefully it
term,
woke him
yeah.
up.
I was gonna say, honestly, I feel like he could be one of those people where he's a big enough threat that they want to keep him around, but he's
mhm.
social enough that they're not gonna vote him out. And I feel like he could end up going far.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this could be his season.
Ah, yeah.
Okay. Next is Nick. Um, Honestly, Hoenn was so long ago, I don't remember like the specifics of his game. But from what I remember, he was like pretty quiet in like the house chat and just like in general. But behind the scenes, he was like really social and like not good at comps, but like someone who at the end of the day, like he didn't have any bad blood with anyone, so he probably would have won if he had made it to the end.
I don't think he's gonna do well.
Yeah, I think he's too quiet. I would be shocked if he makes it like past week 5.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's kind of like what I said earlier, where it's like, I don't think the people that like are quiet or usually play really low key, I don't think they're gonna last because like this is a huge cast. And
They're
like,
gonna have to hustle.
yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know if he has what it takes to like make it like past like the first like 4 evictions.
I also kind of, if he like gets through like the first couple evictions, I definitely see him doing what I also said that like Colin could do, which is like people are just gonna, if he is really social, people are gonna like think of him as like an extra vote and like someone on the
Mhm.
side.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that he could fill that role if Colin doesn't.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Alrighty. So now Nicholas without an H, I think he has to be like one of the top picks I would say to win. Just for me, just because like so far he's been really likable, really social, like getting along with old school, new school, just like everyone except for Lucky. And that's like he's not the only person I'll get along with him. So I think he definitely has the competition ability. He definitely has the strategy. He definitely wants it. After going pre-jury twice. So I would venture to say that he's going to make it very far in this game.
I think so too. I think so too.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I don't know him or his game very well, but I just read like his summaries because I remembered I could read. And I think, like the fact that he was strategic in his other games, like I think is really good for this game because it is such a long haul. And like him like thinking ahead and throwing comps and like being strategic in those games, I think is something that will pay off in this game. So I think he could do really well. I definitely think he'll be in jury, but yeah, I could see him going pretty far.
Also, he used to play BBTC like a lot. Like he would
Ah.
host them and stuff. So as long as he throws comps till he gets
Mm-hmm.
like decently far, he could like comp beast pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I feel like him and John are gonna give each other a run for the money with like
Hmm.
BBTC comps. I wonder if him and Lockie don't get along because they look kind of alike.
Uh,
Yeah, I definitely think that he's gonna do really, really well. Um, yeah, I could also see him being someone like the last person not to be nominated or something like that, and then like maybe getting like fifth or sixth. But I could see him going very, very far.
Well, and like he's cute, and there's like not a lot of like hot people in the community, so like I think he could definitely like play it up since there's a bunch of gays. So like
And
and
he's
like
flirtatious. And he's flirtatious.
yeah, so like I feel like that kind of quality is like really really good with like a cast like this. So like he could end up kind of doing like a Kevin from BB Can and like kind of play it up.
He just needs to not blow up because he like his only like I've hosted him before and I've like followed his games. He sometimes blows up and he sometimes is loyal to a fault. Like he kind of
Mhm.
was with Nicole. Like he'll go down on a sinking ship. But if
Mhm.
he puts himself first this game, I think he will like he has a chance to make it to like top 6 or top 5.
Mm, yeah. I mean, I think that like loyalty is really going to pay off in these kinds of games, but I really hope like him and Dana, those are the ones that I'm worried about the most with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really want them to like make it as far as possible and not let like loyalty get in their way. 'Cause those are two that I worry about. Kind
The
of doing
villain jumped out of you.
me.
Yeah. Because
Uh,
that's the exact way I see it too. Like I think when you're loyal to a fault, it holds you back as a player, and that's like the exact same thing I thought about Dana.
Yeah, and I think there's a really big mixture of people that are like that in this game and people that are not. And
Hmm.
I just feel like
and honestly, not to cut you off, but like all
oh
those people are sticking together.
yeah, which
Which is
is
dangerous when you
which
have
is
loyal
dangerous,
people
but it's like
together.
yeah, I think it's good to make it to jury, but I don't think they're going to be able to separate. Like I
I
really worry about that because
I yeah.
you put like Dana and Blake and Lynn as Nicholas in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you put oh my God, you put all of those like hella loyal people together with people like Quill and Connor, like it's not gonna end well.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say is that what makes me very nervous for Blake and Lynn is that they're very, very close to Connor.
Yeah,
And
there's
he
me.
is not going to have their best interests. Like, already hearing him on call with them, you can hear that he sounds so fake.
Hmm.
And it's just
Yeah.
like, this is not going to end well for them.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's
and
gonna be really sad when it
yeah,
happens.
I know. Oh, I worry about them. But really quick, sorry. I know we're getting kind of general here, but like yeah, I worry because with Blake and Lynn, I think people know that they played together, but they don't necessarily know that they are friends IRL. And I worry because they divulge that very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that like if Blake and Lynn get out, I definitely see 100% that like if Lynn gets out like earlier than we say, I think it's gonna be Connor's fault.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh
I think, honestly, I could see a Lynn and Connor like Julia and Connor from Johto Dynamic.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
yeah.
see that a lot because I think that Lynn kind of might be taking on my Johto game where it was like I wasn't that strong of a player. I was just really social and likable.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see like that scenario happening.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to Owen. Um,
Ah.
Owen is someone who I don't know what to expect because his 2 seasons were so different. On his first season, he was literally the second boot. And then on his next season, he was basically one of the front runners to win the entire game. Like he was so good and he was so social and really good at comps and really good at just playing the game and misting people and getting people to do what he wanted, and in a way that didn't piss people off. And I think he has the potential to do that with this game, but so far I'm not seeing it yet. He might just be starting off slow.
Yeah.
But I think he could either end up in pre-jury if he continues what he's doing, or he could end up going really far if he steps up his game. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how it goes with Owen because he's one of those people that has like so much potential, but I don't know if he's holding back. I don't know if he's gonna like do it all, but like I didn't even play like a real game with him. I just played like a trolley survivor game. And like he's scary good at comps. So it's like I know he has the potential to like be a comp beast and like he's really great socially. So like he could do super well and give the bigger players like a run for their money. But like I think it's smart that he's not like really on the radar yet because he is one of those people where it's like yes, he has a great social game and yes, he's great at comps, but I don't know that he's as likable as Dana. Like I don't know that like if he was showing how strong he was, he could like keep himself off the block. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think he is one of the biggest threats in the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Like by far. I think he could I
Yeah.
genuinely think he could win because of the way he acts and like how nice he is and the way he talks,
Yeah.
he comes across like he has your best interest in mind.
Yes.
It makes him so dangerous. And add that
Mhm.
with like what you said, like his comp ability, like add both together. Like he is such a threat. And I know a lot of the strategic players like Shoaib are loyal to him and stuff. So
Yep.
I think his game is going to be very underrated. And the only times I ever see Owen get taken out, it's by people who know how he plays. Like
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think he got taken out of Redemption because Nicole got his closest ally to use veto and then she backdoored him. It's like
Yeah.
you need people who aren't scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there is that. Like he
Mm-hmm.
is a scary person to play with. And like I'm scared to play another game with him because
Mm-hmm.
it's like people don't even see it. Like maybe he doesn't have the best all around social game, but when he chooses to do it, like his mist is like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like he will get you to think that like he again, like you said, has his like your best interest in mind. And like it's so hard to see through it because he's so careful in the way that he says things where you're like thinking, oh yeah, he's gonna vote with me, whatever, whatever. And then he doesn't. And then you're like, oh, I want to be mad. But then you look at the conversation and he never said he was gonna do it. Like he's just like really, really good at misting people.
Yeah.
And I think that could really pay off. I just think he needs to like play it low key in the beginning.
Exactly.
So that people don't go, oh yeah, Owen's a huge threat. Like he needs to go.
Especially when the other threats like Connor and whatever are already like jumping on the attack.
Yes.
Lockie's making a name, Nathan.
Yes.
Like Owen just has to sit there.
Exactly. And then like slay them all.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
I like that. If we still talk about Owen, I'm gonna disagree on what you said.
How do you
Like,
know you weren't here?
Because I was like cutting out. But I'm gonna have to disagree on what you said because thing is he does the same shit in every game and it's so transparent. And I'm not even gonna like sugarcoat it. Like he does the same thing in every game. If you've played one game with him, you know exactly what he does. And like a lot of people are gonna catch on to that pretty early, I think. And
Yeah.
I think he's gonna I don't think he's gonna go far. And coming from someone, I played Sinnoh with him, and like I was the reason he got second boot, and that was someone like I just met him then, and like he wasn't able to like pull that kind of mist on me. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like he's like I feel like his tricks aren't gonna work this time, to be honest.
I think it just depends. I think it depends on how big of a threat he makes himself or how known he is.
Exactly.
Because if he holds back and goes to the people that don't know him, goes to the people on the outside, like those like Michael the Rats and like Nick and like Lynn and Blake, who, you know, are playing really strong but don't know him, like it could be too late by the time someone's trying to get him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
but
it really depends.
there's also people in the game like Connor and Matthias
Yeah,
and
when I was thinking of people who could get him out,
Nicholas.
I was thinking Connor, same thing.
Uh-huh. Like there's people like in the game who like know his tricks, and like I wouldn't be surprised if they're spreading that around.
Yeah. No, I think it's really hard to predict because like he could do really well, but he has such huge obstacles in front of him because like
Mhm.
you're right. Like I was the same way. Like when I only played like Demi Survivor with him, which isn't even real, but like I was awoke to him and I was like, whoa, this guy's crazy. And nobody would get him out. So it's like, I just think it depends on the timing because yes, they're all woke, but it depends on like who he's able to miss before that happens.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
about that one.
Yeah, I feel like we're definitely torn on him. I think it's gonna go one of two ways.
Which makes sense because the games he plays go one of two ways. He's either like exposed and gets like fucked up, or he dominates the games he
Oh,
plays.
100%. He's
And-
one of those people that's like scary because it's like if you don't get him out like
yeah.
early, you're fucked. Like it's
Literally.
not gonna happen.
Yeah. And the thing is too is that I think something that helped him in Redemption, I mean, he did play a good game, but he had a lot of friends in Redemption that he knew that kept him safe and that he felt safe with. And in Sinnoh, he did not have that. And in this season, it's kind of like he has a decent amount of people, so I could see him pulling a Redemption. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, two more. The next one is Quillin. I
Yeah.
think Quillin is playing a really good social game and like being really funny and just like not because like Quill had a bite on her last season. Like she was a little bit bitchy. She was fine, don't get me wrong, but like she had an edge and people caught on to that. And like that's definitely burned her some jury votes because she was a big bitch. Like she was a character when she played. And I think this time Quill is being more of just herself and being funny and joking and trolling and sending memes and like making Amanda Lynn jokes and just being like herself and not like a caricature, like something that she's not. And I think that that's going to benefit her greatly in this game. I think people really like her. Her only downfall is that she could very easily, more than Dana, get lumped in with Kate and Lockie and Dana, and that could be her downfall.
I feel like
yeah.
So sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just real excited. So, like, as someone that played with Quillin, Quill is like a really, really strong player. Like, I think that, like, if she, like you said, if she can hold back that, like, that bite, as you say, I think she could do super well. Her only, like, obstacle is she's not as likable as Dana. And, like, since they're going to be lumped together, I worry if people are talking noms and they're like this group of people, I worry that she would be the first thought. But I think that she's really smart in like the way that she started because like all she really needs to do is repair that like lacking in her social game and she could do really well because she's a really strong competitor. But Quill is one of those people too, kind of like Lynn, where it's like once they start getting a lot of power, it can go to their heads a little bit. And like that's kind of what happens with Quill because like once we were like winning every comp with our alliance, she got really comfortable and that's when she started fighting people. And so I think she could do really well. I just worry that she won't be able to like hold back that like bitchiness and that's what will get her like on the block. So I think she could do so well though and like especially like with her intro and everything just like really starting off like really funny and really likable. I could see her making it like to the end. It's just I think she's just gonna have to change a lot of her game.
Yeah, I definitely have high hopes for her, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't see her like ever being nominated with Battle of the Block. And I think that like she could go really far, but there's also like I think that like something's gonna happen like once Battle of the Block's over, like her, Dana, and Quill are gonna
Her Dana and Quill.
her, Dana, and Kate are gonna be like targeted, and I could definitely see like Quill being the one to go if that ever happens.
Yeah, I still feel like Kate might be the first on the meat shield. So hopefully she's there to buffer for Quill. But like even with like how much of a bitch she was, Quill was the last one nominated in Unova. Like she has really good damage control too. So like I don't know. I feel like she could make it to the end because like she was able to get far with like all of her obstacles that she had, and like knowing that she's already getting in with like so many strong players and like loyal players, I think that she has that like little bit of like villain in her that you need to like make the hard decisions. So like I have really high hopes for her. I think she could win.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's definitely like a very strong player.
Yeah, she's top. I think, yeah, I would put her in like the top 3, the top 4 of like strong competitors.
Because the thing is, her and Trixie, and Dana too, but like her and Trixie were like the only final 2 that we've had really in this entire series where both of them were such good players, you know, and the decision was like, which do we choose?
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of the time, like obviously it's been like someone and then someone else, like who wasn't on the same level, but they were on the very same level.
Yeah, it was so close, especially like it's weird to have been in Unova and been in Ore. Like that jury for Unova, it was like down to the last second. Like we were all back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it's like, unfortunately, with like the social way that Quillen played last time and her depopping me, I could not give her my vote. And you know, I'm a very vocal person. Like we all talked and she couldn't win because of that. And so I think she'll learn from that and she's not going to let that hold her back if she gets to another final 2. Like I think her jury management will be a lot better this time.
Yeah.
Ugh, icon. Okay, one more.
Alrighty, last one. And this is Shoaib.
Wow, we're really early in the alphabet.
Yeah. I don't want to say this, but I think he's gonna go very soon, like next week.
Yeah.
About his like big.
Not gonna make it far.
Can you tell me about him in like the series? Because I only know him from Survivor.
Yeah, so like he's a good player. Like he's really like he did a decent job in Kalos, but in this season he's like he has I mean you've played with him. He has like the whole like cockiness and like the king thing, which like a lot of people find that funny, and like I think it's funny. But the people in this season like are taking it the wrong way, and they find it to be very like cocky and overbearing. And like he was gonna go up, like Connor was going to nominate him, and then changed his mind at the last minute. And like that alliance that we mentioned earlier, like he's their primary target next to Loki. And people are already starting to like kind of pin him as like the leader of the straight men, and like I don't know, I think he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
A lot of people really don't like him. And I would be shocked if he made it like 2 more weeks.
Yeah. I think that's like his brand is like being really intolerable. And like for some people it can become like endearing. I'm not one of those people, but like I was almost misted, but like he just will not stop. Like he will not give up his like king act. And like I think that is so stupid because like if you like, you can either choose to like play a certain way or you can choose to play to win. And it's like, I just don't understand the people that are like, I want to be like, quote unquote, like iconic or whatever. It's like, okay, like, sure, maybe in your like own little show, you were a king, but like, did you win? So it's like, it sucks because it's like he could do well, but again, he's one of those that it's like he's choosing not to. And I don't see him making it very much further. Like there's already people that like hate him. And it's day what? Day 2?
I'm gonna give like a little bit of a different point of view.
Okay.
But it's because I agree with all three of you in the sense that like I told him the one thing I told him, I was like, because I'm rooting for him and I gave him advice before the game. I was like, don't troll, like don't try and be funny
Yeah.
because he wants to win really bad. But
Yeah.
it's like you're playing like you don't. Like
Mhm.
Olivia said, like give up like whatever shtick you're trying to do. But his strengths is he has the best bullshit detector of almost anyone I've seen
Yeah.
in a game.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at noticing when people are trying to do that thing where you pretend you have his best interest. Like he has good bullshit detector. He saw through me in
Yeah.
Kalos. He saw through me really quickly.
Yeah.
And he knows how to get people to be so loyal to him. He did it to Zizo. He did it to Jacob.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, he did it. Yeah. I think I just wish he would. He's one of the people like Connor where I'm like, it's day 2. Like, why are you doing this? I want the best. I want him to go far. I think it would be iconic, but it's like even in like the troll of Demi's Survivor that I was with him, I agree, he is really good at reading people, and he has this like constant paranoia that I think is good, where he's like always questioning people, but like I I don't know that it's sustainable because he already has rubbed so many people the wrong way. Like I'm gonna be really surprised if he even makes it, like 4 or 5 weeks. So it's like I
I'm
think he's a good player and he could do well because he can, like get in with people and win them over.
mhm.
But it's like I don't think he's trying to do that.
I'm hoping he can because in Kalos he was like early, he was like the first nom. He was nominated a lot early. He pissed a lot of people off. And you could argue that the target was taken off of him because the winners came in, but I think this is gonna test like his awareness.
Yeah.
Um, it's gonna test his awareness. He'll get his shit together right now and stop whatever he's doing and try and like build emotional connections. I'm just hoping he like right now I think he has a week where he's safe and you could do a lot in a week. So he needs
Yeah.
to change what he's doing or he's
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping the best because, like, as much as he drives me up the wall, like, I do like him and I hope that he does well. But I think there's a lot of people in this game that have so much potential and they just, like, have got to get it together and realize this is 24 people. Like, how are you going to sustain this when you're used to like 16-person casts, 18-person
Mm-hmm.
casts? Like, how are you going to make it all the way to the end? And like, can you do that with the way that you're playing right now? And I think he's one of those people that like needs a reality check or it's not going to work.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's whoever said that he needs to like not troll this game. I think that's gonna be his like make or break factor.
He
Mhm.
told
'Cause I
me he
don't think that
wouldn't.
same trick is gonna work.
I don't think he's listening, Amir.
He's not.
He didn't listen to you clearly.
What?
Amir said, I told him. He told me he wouldn't.
I know.
Yeah, he literally was like, I won't troll this time. And what the fuck is he doing? He's
Yeah, he
doing the
goes
exact
right into
same
the house
thing.
like, "Hi, meet the winner." Like,
Yeah.
it's like, like
Yeah.
especially in a returnee season, it's like people have bigger egos,
Right.
so like people like take offense to that more. I think,
Right.
but who knows? I mean, there's so
Yeah.
much left to be done. I do think there's something to be said about the bullshit detector because when Connor was going to put him up, he's like, "Oh," and he like gave him some like bullshit, and Shoaib like messaged his DR right away and was like, "Yeah, no, like that's BS. Like I can tell that like he's not being real with me." So it's like if he's able to do that and be savvy, I think he could maybe get past the next couple of weeks, but it's going to be rough waters for sure.
And I also think that he's gonna have a hard time because like before he had like Zizo and he had his straight men and like no one was really that aware of it at the beginning of the game. And then but like this game it's like everyone knows the straight men are gonna be like
That's a
close.
good point. That's a good point.
And so like now he's kinda like I don't know, like I don't think that he's gonna make it as far. Just because like like his cards are like out in the open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's our last person. So 2 hours later. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. Watch us be completely wrong and like Adrian ends up winning.
Yeah, but like I love that. Like I think you guys did, as bitter as everyone is, I think you guys did a really good job at casting for the
I
most
agree.
part. And so I think at the very least it's going to be
Thanks.
really entertaining. And you know, whether people agree or not, I think it'll be a really interesting mix.
There's a good mix of like crackheads and strategists and social players.
It's like a little sprinkle of crackheads. I love
It's
it.
a good representation of the series. That's what it is.
Yeah. Especially like with it being old school versus new school. I think it's really interesting, like the people that are from those groups.
I think old school has stronger players personally.
I feel like we're both biased. What do you guys think, Nicholas and Julia?
I mean, I think it's different. I think the way and like what we're seeing, like even in these first 2 days, the way people played games, even though it was only like between season 4 and season 6, like a 5-6 month gap, the way that people played games has completely changed. Like back then, they never did house calls. Like they didn't fuck with that. And now it's like the people from the newer seasons, like they house call, they call one-on-one more, they play a different style of game. So I think to say that like one has stronger players than the other is like relative to the season that they came from. I'd like to think that it's somewhat even. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's even, but maybe maybe I'm biased, but I definitely think that old school, I feel like they are definitely way more strategic, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I 100% agree with Nicholas. And I think, you know, I'm not going to go on and on about it, but I've said this before. I think the whole house call thing is like such an obstacle for the people that aren't used to it. Because like even my seasons that I was in were not even far apart. But coming from Unova, where it was like everyone called in alliance chats and like personal to Ore, where they were house calling every day. Like when you come from a season where that's not normal, it is really hard to adjust. And I think like if people don't get like woke with it, there are some people from the newer seasons who look at that as like, okay, well, if I don't hear from them on the house call or I don't see them, that means they're not active. And like the old school people aren't used to that and like early new school. So it's like, I think it is very different now. And so it's interesting to see like how it's going to adapt and change for each person.
It's so true. It's funny because in old seasons, you could not talk in the house chat ever and still be considered one of the
it's weird.
biggest social
I don't
players.
like it.
That's how Jacob was in Kalos. He never spoke in the house chat, but he was arguably like one of the biggest social threats in the whole season.
Yeah. I mean, I'm biased, but like I don't like it because I think it's hard for like the people that aren't used to it or don't feel comfortable going on house calls. I don't feel like it's a fair representation of like how active they are because you could literally PM everyone every day and have a million alliances, but there's still some people that will be on house calls and they think that, you know, like that's a determination of how active someone is.
And it's really not because you could be on house calls all the time and not have strong
And
personal
literally be a
relationships.
flop. I know. Look at Ore.
Yeah.
Woo, good talk, guys.
Woo.
Yeah, honestly,
Yes,
I think I think we talked about all we can. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for sitting in and having a good time. Bye-bye.
Bye.